Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Welcome to Just for Women.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure.
Who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Tariro, Makanga. I am, I wear so many hats.
Yeah, I know.
That's a difficult question to answer. I am a mother. I am a mediapreneur. I am a communications consultant, advocate for women's rights, women's issues, passionate about all things to do, particularly with adolescent girls in Zimbabwe, in Africa, and beyond. I am also, in a way, I call myself an academic as well, because I believe learning never stops. So, in a nutshell, yeah, that's who I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
It's very
amazing.
difficult to answer who you are.
Yeah.
You'd want others to say, this
This
is.
is who you are. Especially when you're everywhere. in terms of-
Exactly.
Okay, so then let's start from the beginning then. Where did this
Yes.
all begin? Yes.
Okay, where it all began, when I was in, I think from grade 6, grade 7, that's when I started having a passion, particularly for broadcasting. I wanted to work in radio. And that passion I had to actually try and find out. The time when we were growing up in Southern Africa, there was only one training institution for journalism, which was the Department of Mass Communication at the Harare Polytechnic. And that's where you would go. And they were not training for Zimbabwe only, but they were training for Southern Africa as a whole. So getting into that institution was just something else because it was quite competitive. Then you had institutions like ZBC then, which had to feed into that institution. So there was a quota that was already allocated. So you definitely know that coming from secondary school and getting into it was a challenge, but I was determined. So that's how it started. I went into Harare Polytechnic, majored in broadcasting, and then had a brief stint with ZBC. Left, went, had a brief stint with Joy TV, which was like a semi-private TV station, and then I was with Joy TV for about a year, and then moved on to the Federation of African Women in Media, which was an NGO that was advocating for all issues to do with women working in the media. You know that when it comes to the media environment, it's a vicious place. So it was like our safe space as media women to come and meet, discuss issues, strategize in terms of how do you survive in the newsroom. So I was there for about a year, and then I went to Zambia for a conference.
Wow.
That's when I was identified by the then media manager at Surface, that was Olora Stali. I was making a presentation there, and she's like, I'd want you to come and work with us. And one thing led to another. Then I moved to Surface, and I was there, almost became like part of the furniture, almost like 20
Long
years.
time,
Yeah, 20 years there. Started as a media officer, rose through the ranks until the time when I was now heading the whole communications department and being in charge of 20 countries. Yeah, and then left where I am now working as a specialist communications consultant. Working mainly, I think I've got two main organizations that I'm working with, which is MIET Southern Africa, it's based in South Africa, and then UNESCO ROSA, which is working in Eastern Southern Africa. I've been working with those two main organizations for the past 3 years now. And I also dabble other things. I've got my own talk show, which airs on ZTV. I also do a lot of capacity building for the other organizations. And I also have, because I'm quite passionate about fashion, I also have a House of Tari brand that I am now working on expanding, not just to be on clothing only, but other things which people will see later on. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I'm really looking at expanding that whole brand. And then I'm also in partnership with my other colleague, Peggy Mvududu, where we have our own production house. So with the Talk with Tariro, we actually produce it in-house. And then we also produce documentaries, programs, radio, TV for other organizations as well. So that's another arm that I'm also working on. So in a nutshell, that is me. And then I'm a mother to a beautiful 20-year-old who's now in Canada, studying there. Yeah, so that's So in a nutshell, that's where it began until where we are now.
That's amazing. First of all, congratulations. That is a long list of things you're doing.
It's a whole list.
I have a few questions to that, but I just want to go back again just to the beginning to just how did you know what you wanted to be when you were younger? Because it seems like
I definitely,
because I can even tell just from the way you're speaking that you knew that if I do this,
what I wanted to do, and but during that time when we were growing up, professions that were there, it was teaching. It's either you're a teacher, you're a nurse, or you're a lawyer. You'd hear some people saying, I want to be an air hostess, but really people didn't have like the knowledge of saying, what exactly will you be doing? Because you just see a plane and you become passionate. So with journalism that time, not many people actually knew about it. But I had to really research around it and get to know. And when I wanted to be a journalist, I actually had people that I looked up to. The Eunice Gotos of that time, Lorraine Gar, where she's late now, may so rest in peace, Mosi Kumalo, those were the big sisters that we used to look out for, and then saying, I would want to walk their path. And I always talk about how my mother didn't want me to actually be a journalist, because for her it was almost like these people, they don't get married. She wanted him. That's one thing that she really was like, because you're intelligent, go and be a lawyer. And I always tell people how during that time, because it was just use it as well for your degree. So when I was at Hatfield Girls, we used to get forms where you would fill in what you want to do. And I was an art student. I was doing Shona Shona, History and Divinity. That was my combination in A-level. So you'd get forms and you'd fill in to say this is the application, first choice, second choice. And I was determined I didn't want to go to the USET because they didn't have what I wanted to do. So when I got my form, the first choice that I put in was medicine, second engineering, because I was like, when they see my form, I do not want them to give me a place because I'm going to go. And that time for journalism, it was not a degree, it was a diploma. But it was the highest that you could get. It's unlike now. So I remember the response that then came was like, we feel you filled in something that does not correspond with. So I had a lot of explaining to do, but that's how then I moved on to go to journalism, and I studied to make sure that I qualify, because all the odds were now against me to say if I don't get in, then what's next? Because I'm definitely not going to the university. What will be happening? So I was just so determined to say, if they're going to be taking 2-3 people, I'm going to be amongst those. And that's how I got in. And then when we then got our own universities now offering media, I was the first to jump in. Then I got my BA in media studies. Then I joined University of Leicester in England. I did my MA in masters, MA in mass communication. Then did my MBA and diverted because I enjoyed MBA as much as I hated statistics, accounting, because I'm an arts person. Then now I am at the final phase of my doctorate in business administration. So
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is, one of the questions I always ask is, what would you tell your 16-year-old self? Like, I always put that right at the end, but I feel like you knew, right? Like, and the answer is always different. Like, it's always like, I wish I'd done this, but I feel like you knew, you had a path already.
I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and I made sure that I actually get it. And what I would tell a 16-year-old, another person, not myself, is really to be passionate about what you want to do. Once you've got that passion will drive you to get to where you want to go. And when we are parents, and I'm actually becoming my own mother, because even with my daughter, I wanted her to do something else, and she was like, no, I'm going to do this. And she's talking about artificial intelligence, what, saying this is where the world is heading to. And I think her stubbornness also has seen her being where she is. So I think have that stubborn faith, have that stubborn belief in yourself, and you will definitely accomplish what you want to accomplish. As a 16-year-old, what you want, just set your sight on it, Because parents, siblings, friends, they might want to choose career paths for you, but you won't enjoy it. Yeah, I always say find what you want, and then you will make it a job, make it a profession, make it even a business. Then you will continue doing that. Yeah.
SAFEs, the longest you were there. Why? How? What drove you to stay there that long? And what has SAFEs done for you?
Okay. I think I owe a lot of who I am to SAFEs. It was an institution that would see you grow. In the end, I was looking at all the other organizations that I could go to, and I would see that the growth that I would get, even if I go to those organizations, would not match what I was getting at SAFEs. I had an experience of having 3 directors, and the last director who was there, Lois Chingandu, was just this one dynamic person. You know, with the development sector, you come up with 3-year or 5-year strategies, and each year you would even look at her and say, how is she even coming up with all this? You know, we would come up with our own theories of change as an institution. So as a person, I could actually see myself growing to the extent that I even tell people now that there is no interview that I can go to or a consultant that I can apply and I will not get. If I don't get it, it's because there was somebody. But if they're going to be looking at competencies, I am competent enough. I got all those skills from here. I got those skills from SAFEs. And also because me being, I think I'll die a broadcaster. Not being in mainstream media, I moved to SAFEs with my talk show. So it started as Youth Connection when I was still a baby, very young, 19 or so, I can't remember. Until now, I've been on TV, and SAFEs actually allowed me to just grow and expand. And they were actually sponsoring that show. And then I was also able to do other aspects of communication that I wouldn't have done, that my colleagues who just stayed in media 100% have not been able to do. So I actually managed to grow and just also became so passionate about the issues. And funny enough, when I was with Joy TV, the first show that I did was on HIV, and that time, those were the days when we were walking in the streets, you would see AIDS in Harare in the streets. AIDS was scary, and I'm talking about AIDS, not HIV. Because you'd see people with the full-blown people just, and the first interview was funded by FHI. So they asked me to go to Mashambanzo. Imagine you are green on TV and you are going there, and I came face to face with AIDS. You would see people, I can't even describe it. So I came face to face with AIDS there. I remember when I went home, I actually took Detour, put in the packet, but so because I wasn't even sure how you did I get it, you know. And from there, I just became so passionate about the issues. So when I went to SAFEs, that was their core business. So even when I did the interview, because of that experience that I have had, my passion just to help people living with HIV, help people with AIDS during that time, playing my part in making sure that at least the HIV and AIDS response gets the attention that it deserves in the media industry. And that's what SAFEs was now doing, to the extent that you still see me where I am now, even with my dissertation, BA, MA, MBA, it always had a component of HIV, until recently with the DBA, where I had to change to look at COVID-19. But it was because of the issues that they were covering. It was the growth that I was getting there. I just grew into the issues, and I am still addressing those issues. So it's one organization that I attribute my growth and who I am to. Yeah.
Was it sad to say goodbye? After that long?
It was time. Yeah, it was time. So I really needed to just go out there. So yeah, it's sad, but because I'm still continuing to do the issues, so yeah, it was something that was long overdue. Yeah.
Speaking, because you just talked a lot about HIV and AIDS. Where are we now in Zimbabwe? What's the situation now?
The
HIV,
situation
AIDS.
at the moment is for Zimbabwe, we have really done so well. When we look at issues of prevention of mother-to-child or transmission of HIV, a lot of HIV-positive mothers now are actually giving birth to their babies who are HIV negative. I think we're almost trying to approach, we are above 90%.
Okay.
So I would say we're almost approaching 100% because it's just isolated cases of mothers who are still giving birth.
Yeah, because I was reading an article, I was watching the news, I think, and they was pointing more towards sex workers, that it's really still very high in terms of sex workers and the LGBTQ.
Those isolated groups. But when we are looking at even STI, sex workers, those groups are actually quite empowered. They, in terms of, because what we are looking at is even if you've got HIV, we would want you to take your medication. Your viral load has to be on 0. So if you look at the World Health Organization targets that we have on the HIV response, the 90 by 90 by 90, as well as the ending AIDS by 2030. For Zimbabwe, I think we're actually getting there. Okay. Very few AIDS cases that we're witnessing now. People are accessing their treatment, and people have viral load that's undetectable at the moment, to the extent that we are having people who are actually living with HIV, getting married, and exactly. And now we also have a critical group of adolescents who were born with HIV, who are now at a stage where they're supposed to be getting married. And we are seeing that the amount of knowledge that people now have, where we even see people who are HIV negative getting married to people who are HIV positive, because there's that whole awareness and people are really sticking to their meds. So as a country, I think we are actually one of the countries that can be a best practice when people are looking at it. So we've really done well. Unfortunately, with the coming in of COVID, we tended to then ignore every other ailment that we have. So now there's talk of saying, let's revisit so that we don't reverse the gains that we achieved as a country. But we've really done so well.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's really you just mentioned again Adolescent Girls. Why that particular group? Because I know that's the first thing you also mentioned as well in your introduction, that you're passionate about. Do you think that's the group that's most vulnerable? Or is it? Right.
Yes. Okay. Even if you look at the new infections as little as they are, and then if you look at even the coming in of COVID-19, that whole group is quite vulnerable. COVID-19, we had lots of early and unintended pregnancies amongst adolescent girls because of they staying at home with nothing to do. And then when you're looking at poverty, because when you're looking at urban areas and then you go into the villages, even if within the urban areas, if you go to areas like Epworth, where you would see adolescent girls, some as young as 9. And it's sad because there are some people who actually refer to them as sex workers, which we shouldn't even be doing, because that's quite sad. So you see people, young adolescent girls, are actually pushed into all those societal ills. Lots of adolescent girls are now pushed into drug and alcohol abuse as well. So it's a group that is quite vulnerable, but it's a group that we need to protect because they are the future of tomorrow. When we're looking at new HIV infections, when we look at even absenteeism within the school system, it's that particular group that is most affected. So for me, it's always an issue of saying we cannot ignore them. We need to constantly take care of them, address their needs, even talking to them so that they are also aware in terms of their vulnerabilities.
Okay. And I guess that's also where media then becomes a powerful tool.
Exactly.
Mediapreneur. What is a media? I was trying to Google that. I know it's probably everything, right? It's like a combination of I love that word. I'm going to keep that word.
Exactly. It's the way I look at it, I'm a media person, and then I'm becoming an entrepreneur in everything media.
Right.
Yes. Where I'm saying I've got a production house, making money out of media. You know, people often say if you want to die poor, be a media person and run a business in media. But it's a stereotype that we need to do away with. Yes. So everything to do with media, be it new media, where we are looking at even social media, where we are looking at new innovations in terms of media. It's that whole space that I'm looking at becoming an entrepreneur in any established, through media, yes.
Wow. How are you? There's a lot going on, and I know I spoke about this earlier. Like, how do you juggle everything? That's because, like you said, you've got the clothing line, you've got the production house, you've got your own talk show. Like,
You've got school.
You got school. What's the secret?
Yeah.
What is the secret, Miss Makanga? Tell us the secret now. In order to juggle all these, how do you do it?
It's not easy at all. And I think you know how long it took us to get this this interview, because time is difficult, and but I like planning my day.
Okay.
And
so you're a journal. Are you a journal person?
Yes.
Okay.
And I always make it a point. I always tell people that I'm a gym fanatic.
Okay.
I go to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday I rest. But I do my morning runs on Saturday as well.
Okay.
And people are like, that same question that you're asking. If you just allocate time per day, and I still need to have reasonable time to sleep. I won't say enough time to sleep, because you can never get enough time to sleep. So it's not easy. Burnout is also a risk sometimes. So it's a matter of just saying, what do you prioritize at this particular time? But also the need to then say, I cannot do everything. I need other people to actually work with.
Right.
I need other people to assist me. Because if you then try and do everything and you don't have other hands to actually help you, then it will not work. So yes, I do some of the things, but I can come up with the concept, conceptualize everything, but have other hands to then work with. Yeah. So that's how I do it.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna keep that. With media and like you said, Mediapreneur, where do you see women in Zimbabwean women? Is there are there loads of you? Are you trying to, like, how do we get more of you, or they're already there, or it's just hidden?
I think we've got a reasonable number of us who are in media, but like I said, it's a vicious environment that is there. It's then who is occupying what position within the media. If you look at what we've always fought to then say, when we look at editorship, how many of us are actually occupying those? At the moment, I would say we have like Victoria at Sunday Mail, and we have Faith at Zimbabwe Independent, which is quite good. And ZBC now, we also have a female CEO. So we're already seeing that women are actually making waves, and I'm also happy to say I am part of the shareholders of one of the new TV stations that was given a license. So yeah, we have fought. It didn't come easy for us as women, but I think now we have really proven ourselves, because half the time as women we really have to fight for everything. Power is sweet and no one is going to give it to you on a silver platter. No. So as women, when we are looking at the media environment, we really fought through all these associations, and it's just not Zimbabwe, it's actually globally. It's actually in Africa. You often see as women, PR, that's where they're supposed to go. And which issues to cover? Gender issues, gender issues, health issues, when it comes to economics, politics. And I always say, even us as female reporters, let's make it a concerted effort where if I'm looking for a source for a news item, let me think of a female that I can use, but half the time we're always looking at male sources. Who's going to comment on this? It's this particular man's name which comes to your mind. So as women, not just in media, even in different spaces. So as women, we are really fighting to also put women in the news. In the news as well. So it's a fight that we are still going.
So would you say the future is bright then for women in Zimbabwe?
it is
in this space.
Yeah, it is. It's already looking good. It's promising.
Okay.
We'll continue fighting. Nothing will come on the silver platter.
Yeah.
But what I'm also loving is from government going to even the powers that be in different media rooms, newsrooms. There is that appreciation of including women. So that particular quota, and not just saying we want to fulfill a quota, but it's competitive women who know what they're doing. So we have women who are quite competent.
Right.
And the future is definitely bright.
So my last few questions, bit of a fastball. What motivates, inspires you? What keeps you going every day?
Oh my goodness, my daughter.
Yeah.
Just when I'm looking at her, the passion that she has, for me, it's almost like work, so that at least she fulfills what she wants. So she's really like my drive, and just making a difference in our community, paying it back. That's why even I always make it a point that at any stage I've got somebody that I'm mentoring, somebody that I'm bringing up, wanting to just uplift others. I want to pay it forward to others, and that's really a motivation where I'm saying, when my time is done, what did I leave? What did I do? And just trying to build a legacy of saying, when I'm gone, it's something that I'm then saying to my daughter, carry this forward and continue with it. So that's really what inspires me. Yeah.
I actually read a quote, I think it was today or the other day, which actually I won't remember it correctly, but it said something about, it's not about living long, but it's about what you leave behind.
Exactly.
That's going to be
exactly.
Gonna last.
And that's what should drive us, because we would want. For me, I'm looking at a point where I'm saying, if I'm gone and then my name is mentioned somewhere, you don't want your name to die. Even when you've gone, your name should you should just continue carrying your name. Yeah. So somehow, so that's what I want. I want to do. Yeah.
Okay. And then, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because I hopefully I want to bring you back here in 5 years, and we can relook at the tape and be like, you told me this, and did this happen? What do you want to achieve for yourself
in 5 years? Mark my words. Yeah, you can invite me in 5 years,
right.
And the House of Tariro brand will be a household name, and it's coming up with innovations that people actually don't even expect to be seeing. I'll tell you one of them off camera.
Okay.
When
right.
And then because it's something that's not media.
Okay.
It's something completely different that I'm coming up with.
Okay.
So and I'm looking at having one of them is actually supposed to be up and running by December this year. Okay. And then the other one mid next year. So I'm hoping to just grow it. Okay. It will be it will make noise, definitely.
Okay. So in 5 years,
in 5 years,
the biggest thing.
Definitely.
Wow.
Definitely. All the baby steps are done.
Ms. Makanga, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
it was
you for
a
just
pleasure.
just joining me on this table.
Thank you
just,
so much.
Your story.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
So can I just ask again? So were you always like this powerful, this motivated, even at a young age?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
But some people grow into it.
Yeah, exactly. I
Like
had that passionate, I had that willpower, but as you grow, as you read, as you interact with other powerhouses, then the inner you just keeps on. Yeah, you need to be hungry for success, and that's who I am. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep
so
shining.
much.
Keep
Thank
mentoring
you.
young women out there.
Thank you so much.
Definitely wait.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cool. How was that?
Time was little.
Time was little.
As usual.
As usual. Yeah, you like I said, see all these questions you already you went through them anyway. So it was brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Before you go up, get up anyway, I usually do a selfie.